This is a video I've been meaning to make for a very, very long time. You guys know that I've been running this channel for about the last 4 years, and not once have I think that I explained this to any of you. The only people that really know about this is a lot of close friends and my family. And a lot of other people don't really know what the story is. Pretty much as you'll see from the title and thumbnail, this is going to be me talking to you about the history behind my name. Deaf Daniel, as you know, obviously my name, birth name, Daniel, so very obvious. But deaf. A lot of people do tend to ask me, am I deaf or not? And to answer that question, yes, I am deaf. But to clarify even more, I am deaf on my left ear, but I'm not completely deaf. I've lost about 80% of my hearing on my left ear, and that has been happening ever since, from the longest I can remember. I think it might have been 2015 or 2016 that it all happened. Now my parents will have to be the ones to correct me about the year that it happened, because obviously it would not have been nice for them to see their son, 11 or 12, losing his hearing at a young age. I lost my hearing in a way. I wasn't born with it. In this video, I want to explain the whole backstory behind my name, how I got it, and the history as to how I actually became deaf. This is a question that I get asked so fucking often. Whenever I'm meeting new people, whenever I talk to new people on Snapchat, like anyone who watches my TikToks or goes onto my Instagram or my YouTube, any sort of place where I will be active, someone will ask me, are you actually deaf? And I will say yes, and then they tend to ask me what happened. Then I obviously will respond by saying, it's a long story. So you're talking like 2014, 2015, I'm not too sure what exactly which year it was, but it has started to come up to about 10 years. It's getting close to about 10 years where I've lost a lot of my hearing on my left ear. And it is a funny thing as well, because my parents do tend to forget from time to time that I am deaf, and a lot of my closest friends, best mates, do tend to forget I am deaf. I have to try and do it on my own, since I'm obviously the person being deaf, have to remind everyone I am deaf at the end of the day. You're going back to like 2014, 2015, I think even 2016. During the summer, or whatever year it was, I was going to France, right? And at this time of the age I was, our family always went to France, and we always went to the same campsite in France, in Perpignan, and I can't remember the name of the campsite. It was a very chill campsite, and in that campsite was a pool area where this happened. So you might see where I'm going with this, and anyone who is watching this, you'll probably get the gist before I even get into the whole story. But basically, I'm on the holidays with my family for my birthday. It was always during the week or 2 weeks of our birthday. We always went for 2 weeks, and during that 2 weeks would be our birthday. And so during this 2 weeks, right, me and Peter went up to the pool. And I don't remember if we were there with some friends at all, because there were these Northern Irish people that we were friends with, and we'd meet up with them, and there was other times where like we'd meet a new lad, or we'd have some other like people there. Pretty much most of the time when me and Peter were in France at this campsite, we always had some sort of friends there that the two of us would chat to. It wasn't just me and him walking around the place. But basically, to move on, we're in the pool area, and from what I think I remember happened, since this is a very, very long time ago, we were in the deep pool, right, and we had this space where we were do our dives into the pool, all this stuff, make up our dives, rate how good people's dives were. I feel like that must have been it, but we were just doing our shit as like, 11, 12 year olds, 13 year olds, whatever age we were at this time. So we're young. And basically what happened was that I never realised that this happened Now, that's one thing to point out. From the time I'm jumping into the water in this pool, at one stage, when I went into the water, when I did a dive into the water, apparently my eardrum had popped in my left ear, and I didn't feel it happen at all. Like I just got out of the water and started going about the rest of my day. There was no pain throughout the day at all, and this is around the time where I was watching YouTube videos a lot. Is when I really got into YouTube. I got into YouTube at an early stage, but it was mainly just at that time where I just loved watching it rather than thinking I could make videos. Because I'm young. I'm there, we go throughout the day, we go to bed later that day. Next morning, I wake up and I look at my pillow and I realise that there's this weird yellow stain on my pillow. I obviously had no idea what the hell it was, so I didn't think much of it. I went to sleep the next night, the next day, earwax on the pillow, and I'm like, what's going on here? Now, my stupid little young brain for a second thought it was oil coming out of my ear. Now, as us humans know, I don't think we don't have oil in our fucking bodies. It's earwax that was coming out. I had no knowledge that it was earwax. So eventually I went to the parents. I said, I'm seeing these stains on my pillow. I don't know what's going on here. And so they eventually took me to a doctor when we got back home, back to Ireland. And basically, tests were run to see what had happened until the doctor came out and said, turns out your eardrum popped and you're actually nearly completely deaf. Obviously I don't remember that actual conversation that happened, but pretty much it came to a shock to the entire family that I'd lost my hearing. So it was hard on me for a good while to try and comprehend this because I'm very young. I don't completely know what's going on, but then I've been told that the stains on my pillow was earwax and all that, and I need to get a doctor. I went to a doctor, and basically he had to put this tube in my ear where this tube would kind of suck out a lot of this earwax or whatever stuff was going on, and this way that would stop the leaking in my ear. This tube had to suck a lot of that wax out, and it helped me a lot. And so for a few months there was no leaking of earwax whatsoever. Because I had obviously lost a lot of my hearing, I had to get a hearing aid. And at this stage, I'm still having to deal with going to school and all that, and we had to get in contact with a lot of the teachers, the principal, to say here, I've gone deaf, I'm going to need a bit of more support here to get through whatever. And so I had a hearing aid provided for me by my doctor, which I still have. I just haven't gone to him in I think about 2 years. Basically, I got given this hearing aid, and you would think that, okay, you've got this hearing aid, you'd have to wear it every day. The one issue was that because of my family and my dad is a gamer, he loves playing his racing games, so he's got PlayStation, and he's got the headphones and all that stuff for a PlayStation, and so me starting to become a bit of a gamer at a young age, I was every night playing games, so I had my headphones in. I didn't have the hearing aid in at all, and it really did impact me a lot at school. And so this is the whole backstory of how it all happened. And basically, one night I had to go to the hospital and I had to stay there overnight, and I still remember it to this day, the feeling of I'm there, they've had to put the mask over me, and it genuinely just smelled like strawberries. There was some sort of big Premier League game going on during that day. I was asleep. I then gradually woke up, and pretty much I have this whole headband around my head, but a lot of it is on my left ear. This is because I think they had to, from what I remember, they had to completely take my ear off and either do whatever the fuck it was and reassemble it back on. And just because there was damage to my eardrum, so they had to repair the damage on my eardrums. They had to do all this, whatever shenanigans the doctors had to do. And so I was there in the hospital for the night, and basically I woke up, this whole thing on my face, ears half covered. I'm I can barely hear anyone, even though in my right ear hearing's completely fine. So that's the backstory. Go a few years ahead, I'm not really wearing the hearing aid that much, just because I just don't really like wearing it. And I didn't really like having it in there the entire time, because I thought I looked weird in it. And so, as time gradually went by, I was not wearing my hearing aid. As you get to a stage, 2020, lockdown happened, and I was like, you know what, I'm bored. I'll fucking start a YouTube channel like millions of other people did. And I was uploading videos, the usual shit. I didn't know what to name myself though. And so I originally had it as my actual name, Daniel Aylward, but I realised I don't think the world would even know how to spell my second name correctly. So I knew that I had to come up with a good name for it. When coming up with a name, I remembered that Jacksepticeye had a video where he explains the story behind how he got that name, Jacksepticeye. And so I knew that maybe I should do that as well. Take something in my life that has either happened to me or something that I love doing, whatever it is, and put that in the name. As I'm thinking over time, I'm like, okay, what's something tragic that's happened in my life? I've gone deaf. And so then I was like, deaf, alright, I'm gone deaf, name's Daniel, and so then it just clicks, Deaf Daniel. It was a weird ring to it, and I was like, you know what, that weirdly fucking suits. And so I named my channel that. Over time, I still wasn't wearing my hearing aid. Leaving certs was going on, like exams were going on, and I was not really wearing my hearing aid. I tried wearing my hearing aid, and it still didn't fucking help. Yeah, that's the entire history of how I went deaf. I don't know if there's more to this story, or if there's a lot less to the story and I've said more than I should have. But that is pretty much the history behind my name and the backstory as to how I went deaf. So, for any of you newcomers who have watched this entire video, you now know the reason why I'm deaf. And for anyone who knows me from some sort of social media like Snapchat, Instagram, and has decided to find my video, you now have your explanation. And I should not have to explain anymore. I'm deaf nearly 10 years, and my life has changed a significant amount, but I can deal with that. I can deal with it. I shall see you guys in the next video. Peace.